Welcome back to Bazaar Morning Call. So we're beginning the day with a lot of individual stocks to focus on. So let's start very quickly. First up, our research team is joining in for the day. Wipro, of course, will be on our radar after the numbers were weak. The revenues were down almost 3%. And compared to peers as well, right, Rima? Numbers were not too good?
No, so the numbers are not very good. As you pointed out, the constant currency revenue growth this quarter has fallen by 2.8%. We were anticipating a drop, but the consensus expectation was that revenues will fall by 2.2%. So this decline at 2.8% is at the lower end of the company's guidance and slightly worse than what the street was anticipating. Also, the performance is worse compared to what peers have reported, that's TCS and HCL Tech, over the last 2 days. The guidance for the next quarter at -2 to +1% indicates that even the next quarter is going to remain muted. And another indicator of the moderating demand or slowing growth is also what the company is doing. They've deferred the compensation. Typically, hikes are announced in September, but this time they've deferred it by a month, or even the headcount. The headcount this time has declined by 8,000 plus employees, 8,800 employees. And look at the number over the last 3 quarters. So even as employees are leaving, there is natural attrition which takes place. Companies not looking to fill it up. So that's also a bit of a concern. And analysts, just broadly have cut down their EPS estimates by 1.5% to 2%. But remember, the Nasdaq rallied 1.5%. And yesterday, the Indian markets absorbed all the misses on the IT numbers. So even something like HCL Tech managed to close up in, flat. So I guess it's all, probably in the price.
Okay, all right. Rima, thanks a lot for that. Weakest set of numbers are probably in the price. Let's hop across to Vivek. He's joining us to tell us about GMR Power. Morning, Vivek.
Well, good morning. Not a name we discuss too often, but GMR Power and Urban Infra is the company that we are discussing today. A significant order win coming in for the company. So the company subsidiary, that is GMR Smart Electricity Distribution, has received an LOI for smart meter installation. This is for various areas in Uttar Pradesh, and this particular LOI was issued to the company at the conclusion of the e-tender that was floated by the UP Discom. So now the project span of this entire smart meter installation is over 10 years, and the smart meters, number of smart meters is quite significant. The company will install close to 76 lakh smart meters in the various areas of the state.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. So we'll keep an eye out on GMR Power. Well, let's go across to Ekta. She's tracking SPARC this morning. Ekta, over to you.
Thanks for that. Well, yes, definitely a bit of negative news which has come in for SPARC, because the US FDA has issued a complete response letter, which is basically a number of queries for their drug under development, which is being studied for eye conditions. It is a new drug application by SPARC. Now, the complete response letter, which is a set of queries, is due to inspection findings at a third-party API manufacturing facility. They have said that there are no issues with the clinical efficacy or the safety in the CRL, and there is no additional clinical data or trials which have been requested. SPARC says they are committed to resubmitting the new drug application with the US FDA. So the key issue seems to be with the third-party manufacturer. You can probably expect some follow-on selling on SPARC in today's trade.
Okay, let's move on and talk about AngelOne. Tata Metallics both reported numbers post-market hours. Surbhi, how did they look?
Thanks so much for that. So AngelOne, it was operationally a strong quarter, but that was largely known when the monthly business updates numbers came in. The numbers were better than analyst estimates, but due to higher employee expenses, the profitability was down. So revenue was down nearly 2.2% on a sequential basis. Employee expenses were up nearly over 60% sequentially, but Q4 of FY23, which was the previous quarter, had a positive impact of 41 crores. So if you add that back, employee expenses are largely in line. PAT was down 17%, came in at 221 crores. The cost to income ratio was higher by nearly 8%, came in at 53%. That is because of higher employee expenses. Now, operationally, the NSE active client share, that was up 120 basis points, came in at 14.3%. And overall retail equity average daily turnover, that was up nearly 200 basis points, so at 24.5%. So operationally, a strong quarter for AngelOne. Tata Metallics, year-on-year numbers look good, but sequentially it was still poor, which is quite disappointing. The revenue from operations on a year-on-year basis was down nearly 2.5%. The EBITDA was up 45%, came in at 35 odd crores. Margins came in at 5.4% versus 3.6% same time last year. And PAT was nearly up 3 times, came in at 5 crores versus 1.2 crores same time last year.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that, Surbhi. Well, let's go back to Vivek. He's got some more stocks in the news. Vivek?
Well, good morning. Quite a few stocks on our radar, on the back of news flow that's come in post-market as yesterday. Patanjali Foods, very interesting update over here. The company initially had, come out with an OFS of close to 9%, where 7%, of selling was due to the base size, and another 2% was the green shoe option. Now, the company yesterday has said that due to the increased and very strong institutional demand that they have received, they've decided to not go ahead with the green shoe option and will only go ahead and reduce their holding up to 7% of what they currently hold. Now, apart from that, the derived clearing price too has come in quite above what the floor price of the OFS was. So the derived clearing price is at 1,103 rupees a share, and retail investors today who will be able to participate in the OFS will have to bid about this particular price to be eligible to get allotment as far as the OFS is concerned. The other stock that we're tracking is CSB Bank. Yesterday, one shareholder, that was Omar's Administration Corporation, in block deals, both NSE as well as BSE, exited the entire 2.1% stake that they held in the company. The price was done at 295 rupees a share. Watch out for TTK Healthcare as well. The promoters who are looking to intentionally and voluntarily delist the company have increased, the offer price for the delisting. And lastly, JBM Auto, significant order win coming in over there. 5,000 electric buses across various state transport utilities. And, that stock too is expected to open in the green today.
Okay, we will be talking more about JBM Auto on the back of that order win. It's a big order for them. They will be supplying buses to various STUs in Gujarat, Haryana, Delhi, Telangana and Orissa. So it's a massive order for them. But let's move on and talk about ONGC and why it should be on your radar. Sonal is here to give us the lowdown. Sonal, over to you.
Good morning, Sonia. Well, ONGC is on our radar because oil prices, they are nearly at 3-month highs. We've seen continuous price increase when it comes to Brent crude. Prices are higher after US inflation has eased. Additionally, dollar index is at the lowest level since April 2022, and weaker dollar makes crude cheaper for the holders of other currencies. So that's why so much buying that we are seeing here. In fact, Brent crude is up around 11% in last 2 weeks itself, up above that $80 per barrel mark. Additionally, OPEC released its report where they see 2024 demand growth of 2.25 million barrels per day, which is up 2.2% YOY, and it's double of what IEA is estimating as well. And they've raised 2023 demand growth forecast by 90,000 barrels per day. So some positive commentary coming in here as well.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that, Sonal. Thanks all of you all for joining in and filling us in with the list. Well, let's do a quick recap of all the top stocks that we just told you about. Stocks with positive news flow include Wipro, GMR Power, and Urban Infra. You have AngelOne, Patanjali Foods, CSB Bank, TTK Healthcare, JBM Auto, and ONGC. Well, a couple of them will be reacting to negative news. That's SPARC and Tata Motors.
Get into a break on that note. On the other side, we'll get chatting with Nishal Maheshwari, CEO of Institutional Equities and Advisory at Centrum Broking. Stay tuned.